You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Young and the Restless fans, I have got your early edition spoilers for January 6th through the 10th. Sharon's been snatched, Ian is taunting, and Nick is terrified. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt. If you're not following us, please click that subscribe button. And as we always do on early edition day, we're going to start with what's happening the rest of this week to set up the context for the spoilers for next week. So on Thursday, January 2nd, we've got Nick and Mariah outside of Society. Faith is with them. They are all freaked out to see that Ian Ward is on the loose and he has Tessa in his arms. And not only that, but Ian's saying some pretty creepy things about Faith that are disturbing Nick. So they think that Ian is up to no good. Nick calls the police. He actually has Faith call the police, but they're going to come. And of course, they're not going to arrest Ian because he's telling the truth when he said he is out on parole. He was released early for good behavior, and he is indeed an actual chaplain, even though he lied to Tessa about what his name is, but I don't think they can arrest him for him fibbing about his name. Tessa is completely shocked to learn that she has been chatting with her wife's nightmare dad, Ian, who of course she has heard about before. We've got happy couples over at the GCAC enjoying their new year. And we have Jack encouraging Lauren to try and be friendly to Diane after he goes over all the reasons they had to fake their breakup. And Lauren tentatively agrees and takes a stab at being nicer to Diane, which of course will make her husband Michael happy because he likes Diane and he wants to stay on good terms with her. He and Lauren are both hoping that Phyllis will chill out on this whole hating him thing over defending Sharon. Plus, Danny and Christine are very happy to be reunited, and they're planning the next phase of the tour and how long they're going to stay in Genoa City before they take off out of town again. Daniel gets some FaceTime with his dad, Danny, and tells him this holiday season has been really hard because Lucy is so sad, Phyllis is angry and spiraling, and Daniel himself is still jobless. And he and Danny talk about how they really hope 2025 is going to be better for the Romalotti family. Meanwhile, Nick, Faith, Mariah, and Tessa begin to wonder, where is Sharon? Because it is past midnight and she was supposed to meet them all at Society. Everybody left her house at the same time. She rode separately. Nick drove with Faith. Mariah drove by herself. Everybody made it there but Sharon, and Sharon's car is parked nearby unless Jordan took her away in it. But things look really bad. Jordan has Sharon drugged. She's unconscious. She is duct taped and she's on the bed in that sketchy motel room with her. And of course, Ian has an airtight alibi for the time that Sharon disappeared. Then on Friday, January 3rd, we've got Victor threatening Ian. And, you know, he hates this guy. Victor has had him beaten to a pulp in the past. He was happy to see him carted off to prison. Victor's going to be furious that Ian is out, but there's not a lot the mustache can do since Ian is out on parole, and the only, they have no reason to think he had anything to do with Heather's death. And of course, he has the alibi for Sharon. Meanwhile, Kyle spends time with Claire. He was dealing with a sick kid, but now Harrison is feeling better. So Kyle wants to celebrate the New Year's that he was missing with Claire. And of course, she remains on her great aunt's target list. And Phyllis tells Daniel a secret on Friday. Going into the week of January 6th through 10th, Sharon remains missing, and Ian would be a very obvious suspect, but just as he planned, he has an airtight alibi with the perfect witnesses. Sharon's family, Nick and Mariah, and even before they got there, Tessa was with him, so she knows that he was there. So once Sharon wakes up and sees who is holding her captive, obviously she is going to be completely terrified, and I definitely expect Ian will be taunting her. He wants her dead, and he wants Mariah back from her. Phyllis may be on the cops' radar because of her threats against Sharon, and Phyllis has no alibi. If you remember, she stormed out of the GCAC New Year's Eve party because she was upset. She was making snarky comments to Cricket about Danny being with a groupie, and then of course Danny rolled in and was kissing her and just everything. Phyllis was having to see Diane there happy with Jack. She said something snarky to them and Tracy, and she was furious to see Michael and Lauren, knowing that she feels like he's betrayed their friendship. So Phyllis made a scene. People saw her, and people saw her exit because they were kind of glad to see the back of her because she was making everyone so uncomfortable. And Phyllis, when she stormed out, just did Ian and Jordan the biggest favor. Very convenient for them that the person that it looks like they want to frame stormed out of the party angry about Sharon. So kind of a perfect setup. Nick is absolutely frantic over Sharon going missing, and the Newmans are going to circle the wagons. Now, Victor wasn't very excited about Nick spending time with Sharon and, helping her through this crisis. But once Victor sees that Ian is somehow back in town and maybe part of the problem, he is going to pull Nick closer. Meanwhile, Daniel and Summer may turn around and grill their mom, and Chance may have some questions for Phyllis as well. And of course, people are going to be shocked as word spreads that Sharon is missing. And if you ask most people in town who's the one that would have done something to her, fingers are going to point at Phyllis, especially with Ian having an alibi and nobody knows that Jordan is in town, and nobody would even link Jordan to Sharon, even if they knew she hadn't really died in prison. So things are looking really good for the two villains and looking really bad for Phyllis and really bad for Sharon. And Jordan really wants to take the chance to wreck Claire's life now that she has done what Ian asked. Jordan grabbed Sharon at precisely the time that he wanted, and now she is going to want him to do the thing he promised, which is to destroy Claire's life and get rid of her Prince Charming Kyle and kick her back down in the gutter. So lots to look forward to next week.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.